Oh man, I cannot wait to watch Wonder Woman 1984. This is gonna be sweet. Oh, forgot to hit the lights.
My life hasn't been what you probably think it has.
Welcome to the future. Life is good, but it can be better. And why shouldn't it be? All you need is to want it.
Gal Gadot is back as Wonder Woman / Diana Prince. This time she faces off against businessman Max Lord, played by Pedro Pascal. But she gets a big surprise when Steve Trevor, played by Chris Pine, comes back into her life after his apparent death decades earlier. The movie also stars Kristen Wiig, who plays Barbara Minerva, a clumsy and socially awkward gemologist who only wishes to be more like her new friend Diana after they begin working together. I was really looking forward to Wonder Woman 1984. Since this movie takes place in a radically different time period than the first one, I was interested to see what they were going to do with the character. The movie has impressive visuals, with some exceptions, and I did enjoy a lot of the humor in it, especially that relating to some of the 80s references. But unfortunately what we get with this movie is a pretty underwhelming and confusing storyline, especially towards the second half and the end of the movie. On the plus side, there are a couple of action sequences that worked out pretty well, like one that takes place at a shopping mall where Wonder Woman foils some thieves, and then later on, it takes place during a pursuit along a desert highway. Composer Hans Zimmer delivers a strong and upbeat score, which is really one of the best parts of the movie overall. The plot does have a lot of problems, and I will be getting into them in the rest of my review, but I'll also be getting into some spoiler material. So if you don't want anything ruined for you, be sure to check out the movie first and then come back to my review afterwards. The movie starts off with a pretty good opening sequence. There's a flashback of young Diana, and she's competing in an athletic tournament against other Amazons twice her size and age, and she pretty much holds her own until she makes a mistake and falls off her horse. She takes a shortcut to try and catch up, but then she's caught cheating, and then she's taught a valuable lesson that if she wants to become a real champion, she has to acknowledge when she makes a mistake and learn from her failures. We then find her as an adult in 1984, where she's working as an anthropologist at the Smithsonian. She and Barbara come across a powerful artifact called the Dreamstone, which has the power to grant wishes. Barbara unknowingly gains superhuman strength and agility when she wishes to be more like Diana. And Steve Trevor comes back to life after Diana wishes for him to return. And here is where I have one of my biggest issues with the movie. Steve Trevor comes back to life, but he doesn't come back to life in his own body. He comes back into the body of some other guy. And so we really get Quantum Leap Steve Trevor. This makes their reunion very confusing at first. She realizes that it's him before we do. The camera does this 360-degree spin around them, and then we get Chris Pine's reveal. It was just a very confusing way to have him return. And the fact that Steve has actually hijacked this man's body and life has no impact on the plot whatsoever going forward. They should have just had him return in his own body. It was just a very odd choice to make. So Max Lord is after the Dreamstone, and he manipulates Barbara in order to get it. He later absorbs it by wishing to actually be the Dreamstone, thereby giving him the power to grant wishes to anyone, and track him to Cairo in order to stop him, because all of the wishes that he's been granting have been creating a lot of chaos. The Dreamstone can grant a person any wish they want, but there's a catch. The downside is it takes something of extreme importance away from them. In Diana's case, her powers are significantly reduced. She's vulnerable to bullets and not as strong. For Barbara, she loses a lot of her humanity, and for Max Lord, he begins to lose his health. They try to stop him in Cairo, but are unsuccessful because Wonder Woman first discovers that her powers are diminished, and Max gets away. What happens next is a fairly pointless scene where Diana, Steve, and Barbara go to see an expert with information about the stone. But we don't really learn anything new except that an ancient trickster god was responsible for it. But the scene feels very unnecessary. The information could have been given to us at an earlier point in the film by any of the other characters. The scene just really kills the pacing of the movie. So Max Lord gets to the White House to meet with the president, who is this sort of odd stand-in for Reagan. And he doesn't wish for world peace or an end to the Cold War. He wishes for more nuclear weapons. It's so dumb. So nuclear weapons start showing up out of nowhere, and other countries start arming themselves. Things are looking pretty bleak. Wonder Woman and Steve try to stop Max Lord from getting away, but Barbara shows up, and we get a fairly good fight sequence. Barbara protects Max, who then slips away. Because Wonder Woman isn't strong enough to stop them, she realizes that to get all of her powers back, she's going to have to renounce her wish, which means she's going to have to lose Steve all over again. So Wonder Woman renounces her wish, and we get an emotional goodbye to Steve. She regains her powers, but also learns how to fly. Max Lord offers to grant Barbara a wish. She doesn't want to be like Diana anymore. She wants to be something her own, something unique. She wishes to become an apex predator. This, of course, means that she will transform into the villain Cheetah. The bizarre thing is that the only indication that we have until this point that Barbara's character arc is heading in this direction is due to a prior scene very briefly earlier on where Barbara comments on how much she likes Diana's cheetah print heels. It just feels out of place and very forced. So the climax of the movie takes place at a state-of-the-art broadcasting facility that can take over all of the TV signals all over the planet. Max Lord plans to use this to grant wishes to everybody and obtain ultimate power, even though it seems like it's a one-way broadcast and there would be no way for him to actually hear what those wishes are. Wonder Woman arrives in her new golden armor and fights Barbara, who is now transformed into Cheetah. But the whole scene is somewhat dark and difficult to see. The CGI could have been better, but my biggest problem with it is that the scene just isn't very exciting. Diana holds back in the fight because she doesn't want to hurt Barbara. Cheetah doesn't look very threatening at all. They kind of just swing around on electrical cables that look more like an aerial ballet routine. They fall into the water and then Cheetah's electrocuted and then the whole scene's over. It's a bit of a letdown. Wonder Woman confronts Max during his broadcast, but he's able to create these gale force winds which are strong enough to keep her back, but somehow aren't strong enough to knock over a TV camera that's also on wheels. Then this weird blue light appears around him and it looks like he's being abducted by aliens, and we really don't know what's going on. She lassos his leg and somehow communicates through the broadcast to all the people of the world and convinces them to renounce their wishes, including Max Lord, after they see all of the bad things that their wishes have caused. The ending to the movie makes no sense. So the threat of nuclear war goes away. But after that, we really don't even find out what happens to Barbara, except that she transforms back and she's stranded on a hilltop staring into the sunrise. We don't even really find out if Max Lord is going to face any sort of consequences for what he did. We don't even find out what happens to the Dreamstone after Max Lord renounces his wish. There are just a whole bunch of loose ends that don't get resolved. In the last scene, Diana bumps into the guy that Steve Trevor was in the body of. She kind of flirts with him a little, but then she watches a red balloon float up into the sky, and then the movie's over. I was really disappointed with Wonder Woman 1984, and I don't like saying that because I really like Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, but unfortunately DC's had quite a misstep here. I'm going to give the movie a 5 out of 10. I am looking forward to Zack Snyder's Justice League movie, which is going to be coming out later on, so I'm definitely keeping an eye out for that. Thanks for checking out my review. Be sure to give my video a quick thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.